Good morning, y'all. Happy October. We started October off with my birthday yesterday. So, this is why we didn't have a study time session because, as you can see, I am in my robe because I am in a hotel room. I posted on Twitter, I ran away from everything yesterday. And that was my kids, the hubby, the dogs, all of that. Why? Not to say that they weren't going to make my birthday special, but I am a big introvert. I have told y'all this a lot. And I was feeling a little socially cramped and burnt out. So I just needed a little bit of alone time to reset. If you know yourself, you know what you need. I needed to be able to wake up this morning and the dog didn't want to be fed, the kids didn't want to be fed, didn't have to make coffee for hubby, none of that stuff. None of that. So, anyway, let's get started talking about October. So, if y'all have been keeping up with the last, I don't know, month or so when we've been doing the study sessions, for the entire month of September, we went through some of those monthly setups. And, when we started September, I kind of showed you what we expected to play out, and it really did play out. So, September historically is like a selling September type of thing. So, basically, that happened. Even though we had some rips, it was a selling September deal. Um, so now we're in October, and October is actually historically bullish. Just like I believe it was either June or July that we started that was bullish amidst the bear market. We are still in the bear market, guys. Understand that we're still in short the rip mode, but we may have, we can have weeks of bullish activity and still be in a bear market, as you can see, right? We got all the way up to the 200 on the daily, and they shorted that thing down fast and hard. So, anyway, let's get to it. So what I wanted to do was I removed all of my lines on SPY just so that I can redraw them and kind of show you like what I look at for the month. I don't always do that. I'm just doing it this time for you guys. So, we're starting a new quarter. We're remembering that, right? So, of course, I do like to start drawing my broadening formations there. Just to have, and I just draw one on the larger time frames, and I always color code it. This one actually already broke through, so I'm not, actually, yes, I am. There isn't really another, well, there is right here. Yeah, we'll do this one. Sort of, kind of. So we can see this on the quarter, but then you can also see that there's a PMG here. So, once it breaks through here, we don't really have a lower low to draw unless we go all the way here, which might as well. But I mean, who really thinks SPY ain't getting down here? That's just gonna clutter my thing. SPY ain't getting to no $200. Like, what kind of crash would get it to 200? So I'm not doing that. So anyway, so that's my quarterly broadening formation. Is we can see we are about to break the bottom of that. So then, of course, I would also draw the top of the quarter there. All right, so now we have our quarterly. And so, we're always looking for the next two. Are we going to continue this 2-2 down? Do it inside, quarter is 3 months. So it's a long time that can happen. Right now, it's in between two EMAs, and right now we have a shooter. So we know what a shooter means. Bears are in control. So going down to the monthly. All right, so y'all see this head and shoulders, right? Yes, I still mention it because, we understand these patterns. We do strat, but we see these patterns and we don't, I don't forget them because I use them in combination with the strat. Okay, I see a head and shoulders. Then on the monthly, on the quarterly, I see a shooter. Hello. Use my strat entries and targets. So, just as expected, this beautiful rev strat, 1, 2 up, 2 down rev strat on the month took out both of these targets. So now we know that we've taken out our targets, right? We've hit the bottom of this quarterly broadening formation. we can still bust through there. But at the same time, the exhaustion is at the table now because, we've reached this. So let's draw our monthlies. So we have this monthly, and then this monthly and this quarterly is like close enough for me. I will draw the next one so that I can see where the next price can go. Kind of like this. It's not really a lower low over here. Got that. I guess, I guess I can use this one. I'll use that to give me kind of a, because this quarterly and the monthly are kind of coinciding, but we still want to know the next, broadening formation that we have to hit on the month. If we break through there, and it's 285. That's yeesh. That's not to say that it can't, but ooh. At the same time, if you zoom all the way out, y'all, look at spot on the month. Look all the way back here to October 2015. Look at these EMAs, right? At what point have these EMAs crossed? Look all the way back here. They're crossing now. And yes, I do Strat, but again, these are things that I use with the Strat. Yes, you talk about exhaustion, but look at these EMAs crossing. Look at this big old head and shoulders on the month. That's saying a lot. That's saying that, yes, we might actually see that 3:30 I've been talking about on the pre-market movies morning show. I said 3:40, but I was saying, ooh, we're at 3:57. 3:40 is not that far away. It's really not. And if we can see 3:40, we can do 3:30. The bottom of this is tough, but again, this is a long time that we've been through there. So, did I finish my monthly? I did finish my monthly. Okay, and then I'm going to do the week. I know this is long, y'all, but y'all know I mostly study SPY, so I would like for y'all to understand, and see what I see. So hopefully drawing these broadening formations will kind of help. All right, so on the week, we have this. We have our monthly. This is the recent weekly. And then, so that's the recent weekly. It's a monthly. I kind of, yeah, because that could be that range. This is this range. That's that range. So, yeah, next would be, I would draw my day. So, all right, so there we go on a week. So now, going back to the month, I did speak on that. So the week is just a 2. It's a shooter. Ended very strong. That's the thing. Ended very strong. A very, very strong shooter. When it ends at the low of the day and the week, that's very strong. The question is it strong enough to push through this broadening formation and keep going down, or are we going to bounce and come back up to the top of here? So keeping that in mind on the week, we do still have this slight gap up here at 420. 420. Oh, that's on the week. That's why, because I'm like, that's very far away. We're not going to even, because that's far away. So anyway, yeah, we got our weeks. Now let's look at the day. And y'all see that head and shoulders that played out. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And before when we were looking, we were like, oh, is this an inverse head and shoulders? And I told y'all last week it invalidated once it fell through here. And so then that head and shoulders, boom, played out. So again, now we're at exhaustion, like what's going to happen from here. We don't know. We just got to see what the market gives us. But we do know, what could happen, where price could possibly go. We know that we're exhausted, but we also know that we see, it's bearish here. So this is how I would draw mine. And then, I'm not going to clutter it out too much, but then if I'm trading it, I'm going to go down on the 4-hour and draw them as well. And then down on the 1-hour. So like, for instance, if I'm trading SPY during the day, and this opens up like this, once that first hour goes in, no, this is over a couple days. So when you draw them something like that within the range, and then once it moves through the range, I will remove them or not, and then add new ones. So yeah, my chart does end up a little bit cluttered. When you start looking at it like that, it's like this. But it helps. After a while, I feel like if you look at this a certain way, those lines won't really bother you that much. But it really helps. So, one thing I wanted to point out, because my auntie had a question about it, was the H. So I think it was Thursday, SPY did an H on a 15. Yes, because that was Friday. So it was Thursday, yep. So SPY opened up, dropped down, and then came back up to test this. And so right around here, I text her, I said, hey, I think it's doing an H on the 15. Watch it to see how it does. And it did it. H. Okay. What I wanted to point out was the length of time that it took to do this. So it did this, right? And then it bounced around 10:30 was when it reversed. From 10:30 to 12 is when it took to come back up to this EMA and reject. This 212 reversal was your strat entry on the 15. And your stop would have been up here at the 1 or at the 2 if you had more risk tolerance. And it continued. But notice that it reversed at 12 o'clock. And it took almost the same amount of time to come down that it took to go up. So if you're looking for this H, it most likely, if you're looking on the 15, it's not going to be a scalp. It's going to be something you're going to need to wait to see if it plays out. This was just a day trade. As you can see, it took all day. But notice, you would have never been stopped out. Your stop would have been up here, and you could have just rode that all day. So understanding an H, what an H looks like. Another question she had was a W. This is actually the same chart that I can do this. Check this out. W. So a W is essentially a double bottom. This isn't completely a double bottom, but you can see the W just to get an idea of what I'm talking about. The double bottom just usually signals that, okay, we're going to reverse, obviously, and make a W. The M, let's see if I can find an M on here. Well, yeah, kind of right here. The M is the opposite of the W. It's, instead of a double bottom, it's a double top. Double top. M. So I don't use these often. It's just things, again, that I can't unsee. They work for me with the strat, so I use them. I know what a W looks like. I know what an M looks like. I know what an H looks like. And the H can be, all of these can be on any time frame. As you can see, I'm on the 15 seeing these patterns. So Yeah, I usually see the patterns and I combine them with my strat entry. The strat entries exit stops, period. Like, that's it. So, okay, so that was it with SPY. I was only going to do that specifically with SPY because I wanted to show y'all that. So, moving on, we now know where SPY is at and, what we think it could possibly do. As far as the cues, um, it is, of course, it's similar. It's not the same exact setup with the rev strat on the month, but it's close enough. This wasn't a one, but it did the two up, two down, and took out these people here and these people here. So now it just remains to be seen. Do we break through this broad information and start working on these targets over here? Or do we bounce a little bit and reverse some because we are at exhaustion? It really looks just like SPY. But one thing I wanted to point out was Apple. Now, I had posted this a long, probably up here. I want to say it in August. So it's probably about a month ago. And I said, hey, y'all, there's a PMG on Apple, a weekly PMG. So, of course, that means it takes weeks to do that. But it's actually almost, no, we did not take these folks out here. But we've taken out almost all of these stops. So again, it remains to be seen on, do we take out these last few stops here? Because another thing that I had posted at Apple is we have triggered the outside bar for the year. So our target is 116. Granted, we've done this before and it didn't finish, but we're here again. That's the point. So, looking at Apple on the, all right, I'm not gonna take these off. I'm not, because I trade Apple too much. I'm not gonna redraw these. But okay, so Apple on the 3 month, we have an inside quarter, but it's a shooter, and it's barely green. So there's nothing for that to 2-1, 2 down. Next quarter, but we would have to just see. Plunge protection team have been holding Apple above 150 for the longest, and then it was above 140 for the longest. So just kind of have to see how the plunge protection team does it. On this monthly chart, Apple didn't completely take these folks out. So, we still have a little bit more room for it to drop. And if it does drop and take these folks out, then we know SPY and the Qs are going to go. So going back to the Qs, yeah. So just a wonder if we take these folks out or what. We haven't really had an inside week in a long time. Since July. That's crazy. Is it the same with SPY? Yes. So we've been moving crazy. We have been moving crazy for a while now. So I want y'all to understand that. As much as I like big green and red bars, I like resting and consolidation a little bit better because, well, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout. So that's good. But y'all know I love inside bars. So especially weekly inside bars. If we don't have any, then, and playing two continuations is not my thing. I do like 3 2s, but just 2 2s like these, yeah, that's not really appealing for me. So anyway, yeah, we have to just see, where we're going from here. Head and shoulders, yeah. So the Qs look super weak. And again, on this quarter, well, it wasn't an inside quarter like Apple. Barely took these folks out, but we do still have, some more stops to go. So we could definitely see some more blood on the streets. Small cappers. Inside quarter with a shooter. Not looking good. Not looking good at all. So, remains to be seen. We could even open up and take these folks out and move back up. Or we could just open and just keep going down. Let me look at this on a year. So now small caps under 191 is the 322 reversal on the year. So keeping in mind we're in October, so we have the rest of this month, November, December, to finish the year. But that's 3 months where, if elections don't save us and plunge protection team don't save us, you can see some downside for small caps. This 322 has not finished. Now that's a very long wick, but we might find some support here, but we still do have a ways to go. Like it could definitely keep going. Look at Qs. And the same thing, I did forget that with the Qs. Apple outside year, but the Qs have 2 up, 2 down on the year again, under 300. Now we knew that, I believe it was 320 was the bear market level. So 300 was that 2 up, 2 down on the year level. I'll get to Microsoft in a second because that's actually a big part of the Qs as well, and SPY. So that, makes a difference. And it was also requested to look at. Excuse me, y'all. All right. So, so Qs, 2 up, 2 down on the year. Shooter, quarter, 2 up, 2 down month. So, head and shoulders, it's just, except for short pops, I'm really not seeing much bullish activity here. Just maybe some exhaustion risk and, pops. But, yeah, this is looking super bearish for the next quarter. Also, I want y'all to keep in mind, we don't uncouple until next week. So remember, with uncoupling, that's when the quarter, the month, the week, the day, the hour will all coincide, or they'll all uncouple. Because the start of the week is tomorrow, we won't uncouple until next week, Tuesday. So for right now, time frame continuity is going to be a little wonky. When we open tomorrow, everything's going to be on the same. It's going to be all either green or red, whatever. But it's not going to change because we're starting a new everything, a new quarter, a new month, a new week, a new day, a new hour. So just keep that in mind with this. So, yeah, so since we talked about SPY, Q, and Apple, let's go ahead and skip to Microsoft real quick. Because, again, Microsoft also is, a big part of the Qs and SPY. It is 5% of SPY and 7% of the Qs. My math may be off, but it's something big like that. Meaning Apple and Microsoft, we move both of them. So Microsoft is still an inside year. Surprised at that, but it is. Quarter-wise, now we are just looking just like Qs, with just straight 2 downs. We ended with a very strong shooter. So again, the same as everything else. Like we did the 2 up, 2 down. Took both of these folks out, even some people over here. So again, exhaustion is still on the table. But we still have, stops to go, especially if everything else is falling. We have a head and shoulders on the month. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not as strong of a yearly signal like Apple, but just understanding, like, if everything else falls, it's going to fall too. Now, granted, Apple and Microsoft have both been keeping the market up, but it's something you want to pay attention to. Now, Microsoft, so with Apple, the levels were 150 and 140 that they were holding it. Microsoft, the levels with that are 270 and 240. The 240 level was like a really strong support level. It was like a magnet, and it finally broke through that. So I could see it coming back up to test it. But yeah, that was the level that it was trying to really hold. So on the week, again, we had twos, which I don't like, but let's see. We still have this set of folks over here to possibly take out. Yeah, I don't really see any support until over there. But keeping in mind that we do need to come back up and test these EMAs. So again, with the exhaustion, I could see us coming back up to test 240 just because it's really stubborn with 240. But we ended with a really strong shooter. So last week I was saying, okay, well, yeah, we ended like that, but we might take out last week lows, reverse, and do an outside week. We could still do that this week. Just because everything ended so strong as a shooter, we could gap down and reverse and be bullish and do outside weeks. That would give us some of the corrective activity since we've fallen so hard and so fast. So we're always ready for that. But then we could also just open up inside and just stay inside all week. Chop inside all week. That isn't ideal, but again, it's a possibility that could happen. On the day, it looks like we're not that far from the EMA. So it looks like, yes. So on Friday, it took out Thursday's lows and then reversed and ended down here. So, it'd be interesting to see what this does. Do we 3-2 down? Do we 3-1? 2. If you look on the day, the biggest resistance has been this 20. So at the most for a pop, I said 240. If it decides it wants to take out these folks here, 247, it can do that. But that's the downtrend resistance line I have for Microsoft. Let me put it up here for Apple, because I bet you it's similar. Actually, it's not. See, I start seeing these. It's hard to not see them. Yep, y'all see that channel? It broke through. So, again, this Apple may come back up here and test this 146, but only because we're so far away from the EMAs that I can really see Apple like either reversing and having a green Monday like it's been doing or something, because like look, this was Monday, right? So Monday from here, open, close, we gap down and we're green, well, pushed up. The week before that, same thing, we gap down and was green Monday and Tuesday. This one, we gapped up on Monday. So yeah, interesting to see if Apple still follows that same pattern, gapping up to Tuesday. The most we might see it get up to here, 150, before it, maybe even does an H. Look, H. That's another thing I said last week on my watch list. I had said that it's possible that Apple could H, and it did. So we could possibly do the same thing, H. Come back up and test this before we go back down. So, okay, so we did that with Apple's, Microsoft. Yeah, I get to talking. I'm sorry, because I can look at charts and just keep talking. I wanted to draw this downtrend line on the Qs to see where that can go, 280. And then I had it at first on my SPY, but then I had deleted all those lines for y'all. So I'm gonna put this back. All right, so yeah, that's my resistance. I don't have any lines lines drawn on that. So, all right. So then let's look at the VIX. Just because, you know, we are looking for the VIX to really, what I have been looking for is for the VIX to top 40. I think that we'll be at like peak volatility, peak fear, or whatever, once we hit 40, and we haven't done that. But keep in mind, we are almost there. We almost got there. So, yeah. Double inside quarter. So, I mean, we're not looking at this as a strat signal, honestly. We're just looking to see, you know, the volatility in the market. This is a quarter. So, that would be, the resistance would be 38. And then if it can take out these folks here, we may actually see a little bottom come in a reversal. But just looks how it's kind of been basing. I think also this is why a lot of people talk about a crash is coming, because if this bases and breaks out, that volatility will cause a sharp move. So yeah, on the month, we ended as not really a hammer. It's not doji either, though. So this is a doji, and it's a red doji. So I have to just kind of see what happens. What was happening was it came out and then it started to come back in. So it ended with indecision. So we just kind of have to see what's going on to happen, because the way it ended, we're not sure. And we're far away from the EMA, so it could, you know, come back down and test these EMAs, which would push the market up. And that's just on the week. Here on the day, shoot, 1, 2, 2 reversal, up. That's going to send us red, y'all. So keeping that in mind. All right, so now that I've spent entirely too much time talking about some of the indices, if y'all would like for me to talk about some of the other sectors, XLK, XLU, all of that, I can. I just feel like you can get that from Sarah's videos, Rob's videos, Jermaine's videos. Like, I don't really feel like I need to do those because they do those. Now, they also do SPY, but I've been doing SPY for the longest, so I'm gonna still keep doing that. And I will, you know, I do SPY, and that's what I speak about on the morning show as well. So I'm definitely going to do the video around it. Okay, so next we're going to talk about some monthly setups that I liked. But before we get to those, let's just do a couple of things that were asked in the study session. One was snow. Now, I had already had snow on my list. My girl and I be seeing some of the same things. But because of this inside month, y'all know how much I love those. And then we have a shooter. And the shooter, although it does have this small wick here, it still ended strong enough to where, you know, the break is close enough. So I really like this for the 212 down on the month to 143. Looking at it on a 2-week, we are in the second week of the 2-week candle. So, you know, if this continues to go, it's a 1, 2, 2 rev strat that will also send the month. So on the quarter, it opened here, 139.75. So it's still going to be green on the quarter as of now, but it's also an inside quarter. So, you know, if it does, the month does take it down and it keeps going, then it will turn time frame continuity red, and you can target that 110, which is a lot. But yeah, you know, if it does this, their first target is here, and if it just keeps going, then it will turn that time frame continuity red, and this could also be doing an H on the month. So I really like snow. I like snow for a swing. You may need to actually put some time on this. We were looking at snow way back here. caught some of this, but did not catch all of it. So now that you see it's done this, actually on the week, this is almost a bear flag. Yeah, almost. Almost, yep. So I can see this coming back down. It's not actionable on the week, but it's actionable on the 2 week. If it continues here, and then it's a 164.67 break on the month. But that's basically this. That's all of this right here, this basing. So, granted, it's just mother bar issues, but it looks to me like it's basing to break down. This will be your first target, and then, it may keep going. So I really like snow. Mostly for a monthly swing. On the day, was it anything? Shooter on the day. And look at that rejection. And we still have a slight gap here we have not filled at 161. So going for that gap would actually trigger the monthly setup. And this is a beautiful shooter. I mean, the bears said, all these wicks. Like the bulls have tried to push it up. And bears have said no. And they got as far as the 8 here, but no. So I really like snow for some time. I would definitely give it a couple of weeks minimum. But I really do like snow. That could be a good swing. It also could be a good day trade on Monday. I think the snow is expensive on a Monday, though, so keep that in mind. Sorry, something in my nail. But this 2 up, 2 down break, 168. That's a nice little $2 move. And then if it keeps going, you're good. So, yeah, this could be a good day trade and or swing. You could also play it and then, if it hits that and reverses and then you roll it over to the next week, however you want to do it. So, yeah, that's good. I like snow. All right, so Amazon. Move these old drawings. Similar on the day. Ended as a really strong shooter with the same little area. I had this on my list last week, and it just really didn't do anything. Like on the week, it wasn't still inside. Oh, it was inside. And that's why. It was inside, and I was looking at it because I believe on the 2 week. Yes, on the 2 week, I was looking to see if this 3 would continue and make a 3-2 down. But it didn't. It's still inside. So, that's actually still a good setup for next week, which I like because it's an inside with a shooter. Now, granted, it's not much range. It could take out these folks in reverse, but then we also have these folks here that it can go for. So if we look at it on a larger time frame, it did the 2 up, 2 down, but it didn't finish. So it could possibly need to finish and take out some more folks here. 105, and this is like a really strong support right here at 101. I think if it makes it down here, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to buy some Amazon right there. That's a strong support, 100. And I said that I wanted it, when it split, I wanted to wait until it got to 100 before I bought more. I spent entirely too much money with Amazon to not own some of that stock. So anyway, yes, it could still finish this. On the quarter, we have an inside quarter with a shooter. So yeah, we might want to finish that quarterly. That'd be great. I think I might put my buy order here at $100 for Amazon because I like that. So yeah, inside week could roll over to that inside quarter, just 106, which would turn full time frame continuity red. So it just really needs to break this area right here. And then that would be the next little support right there. Then it may make it down to that 100. So I like Amazon as a weekly setup. Bank of America. I was watching this last week because it was on the volume scanner. Actually looks similar to Amazon. Did not quite take these people out, and it could. This could be a strong support right here. It's 29.64. If not, then we could keep going to take these folks out. On the quarter, it's a slight 2 down. So that's tricky because it's already taken out these folks. So we could be exhausted here. Let me look at Bank of America on a year. Oh. Okay, it triggered the outside year. 29.57 is that target that it has not hit yet. It's like right there. It's like right there. That's funny. Okay, so it looks like it almost hit it before it reversed. So now, honestly, and then looking at this head and shoulders, it looks like it's going to try to go there. Hit the outside year, and then, I don't know, this area looks like it's a strong area of support based on right here. It's like a chop area. So I would expect that it would maybe do that, and then it might come here and find some support. But on the month, we do have a head and shoulders. So there's nothing bullish about this. And we do have a gap here. Ooh. There's a gap on Bank of America on the week at 25. And that is from way back, 2020. A lot of us are feeling 2020 gaps, though. I want y'all to keep that in mind. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, Bank of America has a gap at $25 that you should be aware of from 2020. So, that is something that it could definitely try to go for. Look at that. Yep. And also, I did want to tell y'all that about SPY. It's the same thing, 2020. And I've been mentioning this a couple times, that there is a slight gap. It's slight, but it doesn't matter how slight. We know that sometimes price will come and test it. We also know that this area is, it tried to iron it out here, tried to iron it out here. This gap up area is pretty thin. You just kind of want to look at what's happened in price before. It dropped through it there. It hasn't really had a chance to iron out that price area. So, and the same thing with this. Like, when we talked about it last week, we said when we were in this area before, we dropped and then we popped. This time we didn't do that. We just kind of ironed out that price area and then dropped. So, keep in mind, like I showed that gap, we also still have a gap up here that was not quite finished or filled. And then we still have gaps up there, but, they may take a long time to finish. So, anyway, moving on. We did Microsoft, Amazon, Bank of America, Snow. All right, so I'm about done. I'm just going to go through a few monthly setups that I noticed that I will share with you guys. Plug. I like Plug. First of all, before I get into this, these monthly setups, this list, I will post in the study time chat Discord so that y'all can just, I guess, see the list and, choose whichever ones you may want to go with. So, yeah, so here's Plug. Plug has been doing pretty well, but I am looking to see if it breaks the support here. Because if it breaks this 2050 area, then it could possibly move down. It's an inside quarter. And not really, excuse me. What I wanted to point out was just, this isn't even an M, but just how it based here, couldn't break above and started falling. And then there's also a gap on the day that Plug is taking forever forever to fill. But this is a cheapie, so something that you can play intraday. But I just wanted to put the monthly on your radar. Walmart, inside month, one of my favorites, with a shooter and a rejection. So interesting to see if it does this H and starts coming down through here. Target, I really liked for this first break, the 2 up, 2 down, but it didn't finish. So I am looking to see if it finishes and comes down to take these folks out. Inside quarter with the shooter. So if we start taking folks out, target, what are we going to do? We are almost always watching Oxy. We've been watching Oxy all year. So we will continue to watch Oxy. If you're not watching Oxy, you feel free to watch XLE, ZOM, CVX, whichever is your oil of choice, pick a oil stock. But so far we're back to an inside month with Oxy. It's kind of noise right now, in my opinion. This is all noise. On the year, we already hit our target. So at that point, it's still noise, I think. But you just want to keep in mind it's an inside month. If we decide to break out and break above, that's where you can target. If not, we need to break. This support here, this consolidation. Let me see if I look. I think CVX looking different. I think I liked Oxy because it was an inside month. Yeah. Yeah, they all. So I liked Oxy because it was an inside month. Keep in mind, Oxy's a little volatile, but whatever. Coin. Possible H here. We came up and tried to test this and then rejected with a shooter, and then it just couldn't move right there. So, $60 break can give us 46 on the month. Inside quarter is one of those things like, where is it going? It's just going to hell, basically. Excuse my language. But then we have an inside week and rejection. So I like coin. TTD is like base sometimes when it wants to act right. But I really love TTD. I'm actually going to pull this up to the top of the list. Why? Because this inside bar is so tight. So I like when they're tight like this because it gives us it's easier to break. A huge inside bar is like, okay, well, if I got to wait $10 for it to break on one or each side, it's just a small one is much better. So that means that, a break to the downside, I got a nice little range here to target, and a break to the upside, it's okay. So, yeah, inside month, inside week. I know I love that. Inside month and inside week, and with possible rev strat on the day. We have not filled this gap either at 55. So, and if you notice, we gapped up, then we've just kind of slowly bled down. So I really like TTD. All right, and then CVS inside month with the shooter. We talked about an M, right? Almost. Or it could even be an H if you want to call it that, whatever. But yes, 2-1, possible 2 down for CVS. It's not really a weekly signal, it's more monthly. But yeah, you can just kind of see where it's at. It filled its gap. So, but did I look on the quarter? Inside quarter. So 88.33 would be the target on the quarter. And net. inside month again as well. Not quite sure which way it's going to go, but the way it ended, I mean, it looks like it's going to be bearish and possibly H. And then last but not least is Airbnb. Airbnb I liked because I normally don't play these, but this 3, I was looking for a 3, possible 2 continuation because, I mean, hello, H. So yeah, that's what I was looking at for that. Again, it's at, no, it's 52-week low, it's 86, so you can target that. 52-week low on the month. Inside week. Shooter but green, but you know, rejection, and yeah, I would this is just an H. I would just look for this to maybe take some time. You also got to realize if you're looking at an H in a week and does that, it may take 2 weeks to finish the H. So you have to give yourself enough time for that. And there's one thing I stress and one thing I've learned is you need to give yourself time. I'm talking about a monthly setup. Don't play this week. You may not even want to play next week. If it's a stock that's too expensive to play 2 weeks out, don't play it. Plain and simple as that. So I think that's all I have for you guys. Yeah, it was just that, the homework, the monthly setups. We don't have any 50% rules. We talked about the uncoupling, so you understand. This week maybe a little bit choppy, so we just gotta see. Play what the market gives. Like, I may start every weekend bearish, and then I'm bullish by 10 o'clock Monday morning, temporarily, and then I'm back bearish Wednesday. Like, I play what the market gives me. It's really easy for me to switch sides, and I try not to have a bias. I look and I say, okay, this is what it can do either way, and I play what I'm given. So I've actually had the best couple of weeks I've had, well, the best couple of months I've had since coming back from Jamaica and being super focused and doing that and following those rules. So if you haven't checked out my small account options video, check that out because that's also helped. I've been able to grow my small account a lot. So hopefully this helped you guys. I have to go now because I got to go check out, but I had a good time. So anyway, I will see you guys later. Everybody have happy trading, wonderful weekend.